Well, I was sent a link to this video by this Tiptoe chick on suicide, so I thought it deserved a response. So I shall respond to key elements of the video. Not too many of them, hopefully. And so we'll see how it goes.
Hey peeps.
Peeps.
I'm hanging out on my roof, and it's one of my cool little hangout spots that I like to do. Just, chillax on it.
Chillax.
I don't have a front porch, so I made me one. Where to begin? That number one, suicide. Suicide is not the way out. To kill yourself is...
Well, first off, that just doesn't make any sense. Of course, suicide is the way out, okay? It's the way you end your life. It's the way you exit the life house. I mean, come on. Dying, that's the way you get out of life. There's no other way to get out of life. Maybe you could do some sort of persistent vegetative state, but that's a little hard to create. So yeah, if you want out, the only way out is out, okay? You have to walk out of the life thing. The life ends, the end. So it's just a stupid point. It's not the way out. Yeah, it is the only way out.
You're giving up. You're quitting. You kill yourself, you're a quitter. Flat out. There is nothing that bad.
See, again, just brilliant logic. So by your definition, there's nothing that bad. So I could show you the image. I won't bother doing it in this video. Of a French woman who asked for the right to die, who had a horrible disease, giant tumors in her face, went blind from it, popped her eyes actually out of her head. And it's your opinion that she would be, that she deserves your ridicule if she rationally comes to the conclusion that her life isn't worth living. If I take away your looks, I take away your arms and your legs, are you still going to sit there and say your life is worth living, that everything you want to do you can still do, and it's perfectly satisfactory to you to live that way? I mean, you have just no right to tell other people what they have to have as expectations of life, and to call it quitting, it's just such a it's a stupid. It's like, I could make lots of analogies, but I'll make some. Let's say you're a slave owner 200 years ago, and you decide, no, you're not going to play the slave game anymore. You're not going to own people anymore. You think it's immoral, so you say, I'm quitting owning slaves. Would it make any sense for you to be somehow disturbed if all the other slave owners said, oh, you nasty little quitter? I mean, it would make them laughable and silly. And that's what you are here. You're laughable and silly.
When somebody wants to kill themselves, if they really have the desire to kill themselves, psychologically, they're going to do it. Period. There's not anything that you could do to talk anybody out of killing themselves. Period.
That's just so stupid. Yeah, of course, there's people who commit suicide. There's people who are determined. There's personalities that do what they say they're going to do, or do what they think. But any person, you can't prejudge and say that all people that have decisive personalities, personalities that they tend to do what they get their mind to do, are all perfectly reasonable, and they all don't make draw some stupid conclusion that they could be easily talked out of. There's certainly people who might be heading for suicide that could be talked to, and they could understand that, oh wait, maybe that wasn't a great calculation I made. I mean, that's just stupid to, to sit there and say they can't be talked out of it. And it's just as stupid on the other end to say that every person who seems to be someone seeking attention, or some using suicide for some other purpose, or the threat of suicide, isn't going to do it, because yes, they will. So I mean, why are you making a video on a serious subject when you have nothing serious, nothing seriously intelligent to say on the subject? You couldn't even go to the trouble of thinking about what you're going to say before you made the stupid video. I mean, it really is stupid.
Now, spiritually, when in Christianity, if you kill yourself, you go straight to hell. You're condemned in hell if you kill yourself. Now,
yeah, and why would that be? Because what? It's an offense to God, right? Because God put you here, and so that's all part of the propaganda. So you're just selling more of the propaganda. But anyway, we'll get to what you're really selling.
my beliefs on that are, I follow the laws of karma. So, and I believe in reincarnation. So even
The laws of karma. The laws? Where are these laws written? Who are these laws written by? What rock are they written under? You don't even have a Bible for the laws of karma. You silly person.
if you were to take your life, I believe that you are disrespecting your soul, number one. Like I said, you're a quitter.
Yeah, you're a quitter. You're an idiot. How's that? Okay, you're going to call suicide people a quitter. We'll call you an idiot, a colossal fucking idiot. But whatever. The laws of karma. Well, let's hear some more.
And if you quit on your life and on your path, and just because you can't handle it, or because you don't like what has happened, then
Yeah, because you found life to be unsatisfactory, which you're not allowed to do, right? We all have to invest in it like you're doing, right? We all have to think we're going somewhere and we're doing something. We all have to buy into your Hansel and Gretel, Three Bears, Goldilocksy fantasy, or else somehow we're missing out. Oh, sorry.
when you are born again and your next life comes around, it's not going to be any better. It's just not. What you put out, you get back times 3. You will probably come back as something to where you won't have a really decent life for a little while, such as, depends on how deep in reincarnation you believe. I believe that you can come back as anything. You can come back as a freaking housefly. What kind of a...
Yeah, right. So you're postulating that Vincent van Gogh, when he died by his own hand, is now a housefly. So your God, your spiritual forces, or whatever it is that control the universe, this bullshit that you say, this energy shit that you say controls the universe, that's how it judges things. It says, yeah, okay, we'll take this sensitive, beautiful human being, and because he lived this tormented life and he finally killed himself, we'll turn him into a housefly, and that'll somehow make sense to everybody. That'll make as much sense as God sentencing all women to pain in childbirth because Eve ate an apple. I mean, yeah, it's brilliant. So your God is as useless as the rest of the bullshit. It's just a silly God. Your judgment is superficial, trivial. The money that was wasted on your style, probably what you waste on hair and nails every month, you could save a human life with that money. But instead of doing that, you're making fucked-hearted, idiotic videos, maligning people in pain. Brilliant. Thank you for what a marvelous contribution to humanity. You dumb fucking ignorant.
life is that to live? Yeah. Come back as a tree, come back as a rock, come back as a person, come back as a murderer, come back as a child molester, come back as, a priest, come back as, the divine, come back as any... Your soul has its own laid out path in sorts. You have this certain agenda of lessons that you learn, and there is a point to where when you live your life and you learn all your lessons, when you die and you come back, you move on to your next lesson. And you just continue on, and you get more and more in touch with yourself, and more...
Yeah, and so what level of that are you on? All right, so you're making a video on a serious psychological subject. You have no qualifications. You have a fantasy, a fable, as a narrative, as a foundation for this bullshit you're preaching, and you think you've reached some level, right? Little tiptoey chick. You've reached some level that human beings should aspire to be like you. Well, anyway, there's no point in going through the rest of this. It's just more of her religious babble, her spiritualism, energy, none of it based on any science, anything that can be observed with any kind of rational instrument, either a rational brain or a mechanical device. It's just all fantasy, just crap she makes the fuck up. And that's what she calls a philosophy. And that's the state of the human being. So by that standard, I mean, if I had to be you or a housefly, I would probably go for the housefly thing. because at least its ignorance has no, it has an excuse for it. It doesn't have a big giant brain that can do better. You have a brain and you've used it to do absolutely nothing of merit. You've just contrived a pile of shit and said, this is my philosophy and I will live by it. My 3 times revengey thing. You know, my karma thing. Like somehow the universe is going to fix all the fucking bullshit all by itself. It's going to fix it all by itself because it's going to punish the criminals somehow. It's going to make them into houseflies. And then they'll have to go all up the ladder again and do all the same shit all over again. It just doesn't make any fucking sense. So, whatever. Dumb video. Thank you for contributing to the mass of human stupidity that controls the mindset of this thing we call the human species. Bravo. Brilliant contribution.